And before we get into the newspaper review brought to us by Syntex Tanker, you're stronger, you're tough, and Access Bank more than banking, let's begin your wrap of Newsfile over the weekend.
All the discussions that I've heard emphasize that there is no provision in CI 127 that allows the EC to move the collation of constituency results outside of the constituency. And in this case, we are not even talking of one. We're talking of quite a number of them. Probably our political actors and the organizations they belong to have become criminal organizations or criminal enterprises who are seeking power at all costs, no matter what. It cannot be something that anybody will say that I don't have my pink sheet. It can't be. By the way, was it not the EC in CI 127 or whichever one who said that the ballot station declarations, i.e. that pink sheet, will be pasted on a public notice board?
Mm-hmm. It's a right to ask for recollation before declaration. But once the results are declared, the only platform left for you is the court. It is only in the court that you can prove whether you did the declaration under duress or you did the declaration with half polling stations or quarter polling stations or three-quarter polling stations, or you ignored some figures, or you change figures that are meant for candidate A for candidate B.
What is necessary is lawful. And you had a situation where things dissolved to a point. They, deteriorated to a point where it was necessary to go to a place which had more security. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't change the votes. It doesn't change what is on the pink sheet. There is a certain exercise that is being conducted, and it needed to be done in an atmosphere of greater security. And that is why that became necessary. But
I think over the years, we've sort of tolerated impunity in relation to crimes committed during elections by individuals, by political party actors, and sometimes even by EC officials or officers. Because I don't remember the last time when, after elections, we are told, well, somebody has been prosecuted and jailed this number of years because the person was involved in this offense in relation to the election or otherwise.
I think for me, there are also questions about how the EC itself also sort of looked back on that process, the previous process, that is the 2020 process, and how it's brought forth certain lessons with it. But given that we have come back to some of these issues, I think the issue is what we did. Was it, how did we engage all the other actors, all the other stakeholders, the political parties? What did we arrive at? Because the bottom line is that you want to be able to deepen trust. You want to be able to deepen transparency around the process. Otherwise, everything that you do can be undermined by one or the other aspect.
By 7 p.m. from the NDC's position, they knew their position in terms of the results. By 11 p.m., NPP knew their position in terms of the results. That is an indication that these two parties, even though we are claiming that some of the pink sheets are burnt or whatever, they have certain copies. And if we really want to be honest, both of them must produce the copies that their IT teams have so that we put them together and move on as a country.
The Electoral Commission as an institution doesn't care who wins presidential, who wins parliamentary. That's not part of our mandate. Our mandate is to ensure that the processes leading to the election of the president, the processes leading to the elections of our parliamentarians, they follow what have been specified in law. So for the Electoral Commission, we have sworn an oath to do that. So what we are basically saying is that we, so far out of the 12 which the commissioner said we'll be looking at, that means 12 from the 276, that's 264 or so. All of them, we've never had any complaints.
So that was a wrap of news. But before this, the communications director of the Baumia campaign, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, joined Samson. Let's listen to him.
This is not the results that we expected from the NPP side. We were quite optimistic that considering the prevailing situation that the country finds itself across sectors and looking at the propositions that we had made, we believed we had superior...
The bold solutions.
Yes, we believe we had superior propositions to confronting these issues than the NDC did. There are a series of issues, some of which I think that maybe we underrated the extent to which our people were unhappy. You remember when even our own MPs were making calls for certain changes in government and certain reshuffles, and that as a government, our people may not have been so happy about. Again, there is this issue of cost of living, which our campaign really made proposition to address. You can't take it away from the people. I always insisted that the entire economic conversation, what was most important to the people was the cost of living. Honestly speaking, Akufo-Addo by his persona and demeanor, if you're watching him from afar, the easiest take would be he's arrogant. But for anybody that has worked with him and been very close to him, including CSOs and you yourself, Samson, would disagree that he is not arrogant. He is, very strongly, he has very strong views and he says them as it is and all of that. So there is this issue about the National Cathedral. You understand? You may be strongly convinced about it. But if the people have punished you again, in the future, you learn from it and realize that if you are doing the thing for the people and they say they don't want it, maybe you call, do an nationwide address and say, I have been trying to do this thing and the feedback I'm getting is that you don't want it. As a result of that, I've stopped. The one thing is for sure, that the party and even the people of this country acknowledges his hard work, his dedication. Nobody, even in the midst of all these discussions, has even pointed a finger at him.
Really? They have mentioned why the president brought him into his campaign in the first place, to fix the economy. The economy is broken as never before.
But we've seen the post-election analysis. Now we are not doing the pre-assumptions. The numbers and the outcome and the sentiment exiting the polls is quite clear. Everybody believes that he's applied himself very well.
Okay, so Raymond and George, that's what transpired over the weekend on Newsfile. Lots of discussions about election 2024, and we had always indicated that the elections must end in the first round. It ended in the first round.
Yeah,
I didn't want to come
more
back.
of a wish that's why I stopped talking about election matters long time ago.
I mean, I just wanted it to end in the first
I'm moving on now.
so we can celebrate
preparing for Christmas. Yes,
for Christmas. But But Raymond, quick thoughts on what you heard, particularly from Miracles, Abuaji, Dennis Miracles Abuaji. Seems the NPP, I mean, you heard some people, you hear some people saying they knew they were going to lose. Others like, oh, this is not what we expected.
I think it's too early. What you hear from them and the people who be speaking, their personal, maybe how they view things. A more scientific review would show what trends, where the difficulties were, and how they can actually proceed. I've heard people list issues. I've heard Dr. Kennedy list other issues, but all of these are very nice things to say. But put the science behind it. Properly get to the base, have a proper team that will engage from the grassroots straight to the top, not only of the party, but of other Ghanaians, and asking the questions. Why didn't you vote, or why didn't you vote for us? I hope you get the point. I expect the party and its agents to step back. The accusations, the counter accusations, you took money, then you didn't work, we gave it out. All of these are initial reactions, fine. But if you really want to correct your ways, you need to properly situate the problem. I think it was strange that many thought that the NPP was going to win and win with the showing that some of us were told was going to happen. I mean, it was all the odds, and everybody who understood this were against the NPP rather. Yeah. So it's good to be upbeat about it, but you put up a good fight. And I've said it before, even without the difficulties that we are currently facing, Akufo-Addo did not win after John Kufuor.
Yeah.
Even without the difficulties that we are facing. In fact, as of that time, the biggest problems were whether they have arrested some
taxi drivers and fuel prices.
And if I check the fuel price at the time, compared to now. So the conditions we took into this election were extraordinary. So plus all the other factors that affect an incumbent government. So it's not shocking. Many are rather shocked about the gap, the difference. And that's what proper science would show, that this is how the people voted because of this and that reason.
In 2016, the NDC was put together the late Kwesi Commission to do some thorough work.
Because they suspected
the outcome wasn't that palatable for the party itself.
But still you work with it.
It looks like they went back to do their homework.
Look, I've heard people say, for instance, it's apathy. Oh, it's apathy, and that's it. I mean, that's the end. And they ended there. It's apathy.
No, what is apathy?
But hold on a minute. Oh, our voters didn't, when you hear the NPP guys, our members didn't turn out to vote. But you know what I
But that's it. Okay, before you even proceed, see, there's no guarantee. Me, I was on the 2012 register. Ahead of the 2020 register, they didn't register me. So, if I voted in 2012, how do you count on me not voting as part of the people who are going to vote in the election?
Well, of course,
so which people are they talking about?
Because they looked at the figures from 2020.
But there's no guarantee that it's the same set of people are the ones who are sitting on the register.
They look, but also because the 2020 register is the same register now. They just added new names to it. But this is the problem. Because it was the same register with new additions.
50 people in a household. You can vote and I can decide not to vote. Next time we will switch.
But that's the point they're making. That, their members, because Akufo-Addo had 6.7 million votes, and Dr. Bawumia gets around 4.6 million, the thinking is that...
But are you guarantee yourself that 6.7 are all NPP members?
Relax. But let me make the point you understand. And so, then John Mahama gets around 6.3 million. From the 6.2, it means he had the same. But this is the point. I have just realized, and I mean, you and I were in the studio, that while the NPP members of parliament had their votes reducing, they were all performing better than Dr. Bawumia. You realize that? The NPP members of parliament, the parliamentary candidates, actually had more than 500,000 more votes than Dr. Bawumia. So you just cannot say that, John Mahama's votes just increased by, it was the same, I mean, his votes from 2020 are the votes that he got. No. In fact, there are people who went out there, voted for NPP parliamentary candidates, but did not deem it necessary to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I have said that this is a verdict on Akufo-Addo's governance. But there is more to it also. Not just a verdict on Akufo-Addo's government. That could be the main issue, but you now would have to, and that's why I agree when people say, don't just sit down and say, the economy, our members did not come to vote. Look, the NDC did it in 2017. The NPP should scientifically find out why they lost. When you, for instance, you say, free SHS, people should come out from schools, you give them break so they can go and vote. Thinking that because children, enjoy free senior high school, they'll go and vote for the government. I have seen a lot of children who have complained to me anytime I've been to secondary schools about what they eat. Was it not on this show that we did a program on free SHS that the president went to Cape Coast and said that a radio station in Accra was attacking free SHS? Waging a war against free SHS. If your child is in a secondary school that you have to pay 3,000 cedis a month to a master's wife on campus to cook for your child. If your child, one of my friends who sent his child to school just last month came back and said, this is an NPP man. He said he was not going to vote for the NPP because of how they were handling free SHS. I asked him why. He said, Nyami, my daughter has been eating gari and soup since she got to school. When you say this, NPP members will fight you. They say it is not possible for people to do that. President Akufo-Addo himself will get involved and say you are waging a war. Do you think that child who suffered would go and vote for you? Do you think that a man who lost money as a result of the domestic debt exchange, his whole savings, that today there are people who made hundreds of thousands and millions while they were working, having to beg to eat, that man will go and say because you are promising him bold solutions, he will go and vote for you.
But it also takes voters to have a concern with a party A or party B to exercise what you call apathy. So, for instance, if I think that, okay, you know something, I will not vote for another party.
Quickly, let's
do the daily guide. Lead story, police investigate in Saroma Drudgery shootings, and e-transact Ghana launches and Puntu launch AI payment accelerator for startups. EC dismisses 4 parliamentary candidate declarations, and also even Chaka Chaka headlines. Africa Festival in Ekuafri won with 414 votes margin when it comes to her seat for that electoral area, and those are the lead
and the back
stories.
page talks about Kotoko's victory over Hearts of Folk.
Yes,
but let's
of
continue.
course, yeah.
Yes, let's continue to let's get to the online news review brought to us by Zenith Bank, in your best interest, and Goil Good Energy Goil.
Now, dear valued customer, when was the last time you used your Zenith Bank account? If it's been a while, we want you to know we miss you. This festive season, give yourself the best gift ever. Reactivate your dormant bank account and rediscover the amazing benefits of being a member of the Zenith Bank family. Experience true convenience and an excellent range of banking products and services designed to meet your every need this Christmas and New Year. When you reactivate your Zenith Bank account, don't wait. Simply visit zenithbank.com.gh or visit any Zenith Bank branch near you to initiate the process of reactivating your dormant Zenith Bank account. We look forward to welcoming you. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Well, Goil Good Energy brings you Goil Super XP, the ideal choice for most vehicles, and is flowing Wawa at many Goil stations in the country. Just go fuel up your vehicle and enjoy the smooth ride with all the benefits. Goil Super XP, ufilia, ube fili. Goil Good Energy Goil, which means we can go for the BBC News.
Yes, and it's brought to you by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us, Old Mutual, 10 years of greatness in Ghana, here for a lifetime.
In northern Sweden, reporting on a crisis at one of Scandinavia's